How do men process betrayal different than women? Is there a cultural distinction in how betrayal operates depending on where you are in the world? If you're curious about the answer to those questions, you're in the right place. In this clip of American Masculinity, Dr. Debbie takes us through her data set of 100,000 different cases across 4 continents to help us better understand how men and different folks around the world process betrayal. And then I share my clinical insight on my 10 years of experience working with men on how we're a little different and how betrayal impacts us. While you're watching, think about what you might notice differently from between men, women, and others around betrayal. We'll see you at the end. After studying this, getting 100,000 different intakes and all the information you've gathered, what are the main differences you've seen between men, women, and non-binary folks on how betrayal exists either culturally or symptomatically?
I see the biggest difference being that women feel more comfortable speaking up and just finding that support, seeking that support. And the men tend to feel so much more shame in reaching out. That's just one thing I classically see. We have both the betrayed and the betrayers in our community, but in our betrayer program, it's usually more men than women. Women are definitely still there. And I remember reading something about this when I was doing my study, reading somebody else's study about how it seems that women tend to find the lies and deception harder to get over, where the men find the physical the harder to get over. So that was just something as well. But it's just as traumatizing and painful, whether you're, a man or a woman.
We find a lot, and the more I have conversations with various clinicians, we go crazy by culture. And so we're all mammals. Like you, me, and my pet dog have very similar emotional sets on a basic level. But how we're allowed to exhibit those and what hits us and what we're ashamed of being seen in the world as is going to be very different based on our gender.
Where I see it, there's a tremendous difference. We have, so far, we've launched in Vietnam and Kenya and the Middle East, where they've taken, it's our certified coaches, where our program has been translated and they coach members because it's different cultures and customs. Mm-hmm. And while we're global, they know the specific cultures and customs. And I was just speaking with our representative, our coach in the Middle East. It's so different there as far as the genders. See how they see and manage betrayal. So, it's different everywhere, but the hurt is there regardless.
So what are the kind of key differences that they're finding between Americans and Middle Easterners in this regard?
Yeah. Well, one thing is even according to certain cultures and customs, they can have, let's say the men can have a second wife. That doesn't make it any less painful to the wife who's been betrayed, even if that's acceptable.
It reminds me a lot of what happens when some Latino cultures, where there is an acceptance that at a certain status level, men in this culture will likely have affairs. But should that man ever bring that woman into his wife's house, that's an ultimate betrayal. So it's not just that this is happening, but you've broken the various other vows attached to it. It sounds more like it's a layered impact is how I would frame it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for, hey, if it's not acceptable for you, it shouldn't be acceptable for you. So it's all about fairness. As a highly sensitive empath with integrity as my highest value, I don't find any reason ever why betrayal is ever okay. I don't look at it like a mistake. It's a choice, and a really painful one, because I see the devastation. I've experienced it. If people could just take a moment and say, would I want this done to me? How would I feel? How would I experience this? And what would be a way to handle this scenario so I can move through it and have some growth, some learning on the other side, instead of destroying the heart and trust of the very person who loves me the most?
It's always really interesting to watch because a lot of the guys I work with, they're both recovering and committing. And it's always, they have to kind of heal what hurt they had before they're ready to take on accountability for what they've done. And that's just one small part of the conversation we had with Dr. Debbie. At the beginning, I asked you, what do you see differently between men and women in betrayal? If you're willing, please share it in the comments so that we can normalize some of these processes and start the discussion. If you're curious about the full range of discussion that we had, links right here.